Classics Lesson 4 today. Now today I'd like to keep focusing on the formations, and the main aspects of formations I'd like to focus on is the 4-5-1 formation, 4-2-3-1 formation, an interchange of 4-5-1 and 4-2-3-1, and also how this plays into a 4-3-3 change. Now starting off with the 4-5-1. As you can see, a 4-5-1 formation seems kind of similar to a holding 4-3-3 formation. The wingers are positioned out on the channels, with there being one slightly deeper lying midfielder and two center mids. However, the only difference is that this floods the midfield. They're all in one specific horizontal area, so they can all cut in and flood the center of the pitch. As you can see, they're all in this very small patch of horizontal area. So if anyone, if even the center defensive mid gets the ball here and he comes up to defend him, the right winger can drop back and it can really just flood the center of the park, and it provides very good defensive stability. And I would recommend this and a 4-4-2 we mentioned previously as a formation from a defensive standpoint. Now, how does this position play out? Now, as I mentioned previously, this does flood the center of the park, and as you can see in a 4-5-1 position, it can leave the striker very isolated from the midfielders, and it can result in the striker not getting any service. So now, let's look at a 4-2-3-1 formation. Alright, now, as you can see, this does involve in the team having 5 midfielders. However, the difference is that they're not in a constrained horizontal area, and there are 2 defensive midfielders doing the majority of the defensive job, and the center attacking mid being the most advanced midfielder. And instead of you playing with 2 wingers, you're playing with 2 wide midfielders. Now, these wide midfielders won't be inverted wingers with cut-ins. When in attacking position, they play as classic wingers, and the center attacking mid will play as a classic number 10, with them providing service to the wingers to cross in or providing service to the striker to run in behind. This does provide a lot of defensive stability because in a defensive standpoint, even if the center attacking mid doesn't cut back, both of the wide midfielders aren't wingers and they do drop back a lot. So it can work out as a 4-4 formation where you have 4 midfielders who can still flood the center of the park without help from the striker and the center attacking mid. And going forward, it can help drastically with there being a classic number 10. The only difference is that since the striker is the only one going straight and attacking the net, it can leave a lot of responsibility on the striker's shoulders to create goals, because the midfielders aren't going to invert in and get into the box as much. So now, let's look at a 4-5-1 and a 4-2-3-1 interchange. Now, if this is a 4-2-3-1, even though it does provide a lot of defensive stability, it's not as strong defensively as a 4-5-1 is, because a 4-5-1 really pressures and floods the midfield and doesn't really allow any of the midfielders to get going or get the ball on their feet, and doesn't give them enough chances to create scoring opportunities. But since it leaves the striker isolated, it's not a really good tactic attacking wise. With which, since you have 5 midfielders in a 4-2-3-1 as well as a 4-5-1, what you can do is you can incorporate your center attacking mid as the deepest lying midfielder in a 4-5-1, and then get him to propel forward in a 4-2-3-1. So it should look like this. So now you have your 2 center defensive mids playing right above the center line, and your center attacking mid being your deepest lying midfielder. Now I understand that the center attacking mid isn't really experienced in being defensively handy. However, you do have 2 center defensive mids covering him. So your center attacking mid would only be in use when there's a drastic emergency on either of the sides. Now, and along with that, your midfielders are a bit more withdrawn into the center and a bit closer to their own half. And this is to try and flood the midfield again and try to squeeze out their midfielders and not give them any chance on the ball to create any scoring opportunities. So now, as you can see, this is the classic 4-5-1, and this center attacking mid, since doesn't have any defensive responsibilities, as soon as anyone on the team gets the ball, he can propel straight forward right at their center defensive mid. If they're playing a 4-3-3, he would propel right at their center defensive mid, right here, and play the number 10 role, and then your midfielders. Your wide midfielders will go wide and attack further up the field, with your two center mids dropping into a center defensive mid role to provide stability to their defense. Now this can be very useful. However, the only requirement would be for you to train your center attacking mid defensively and getting more defensively adept, so that even if there is an emergency, he's not caught stranded, and he knows what to do, and he's not a defensive liability. Now, these formations can also be changed from a 4-3-3. So if you have a holding 4-3-3 here, now as you can see, this is a holding 4-3-3 formation, and it can be used as a 4-5-1 platform with your center mids just dropping back, and everyone on the attacking half with pertaining to your center mids and your wingers just dropping back a bit to again flood the midfield right here, with your center defensive mid staying in his position. Your center mid's dropping from here, back a bit right here, and your wingers again dropping in a bit and back to try and flood the channels right here. And again, this shows the primary 4-5-1 formation, and again, it floods the midfield and doesn't allow their midfielders to create any chances. Now, along with the 4-3-3, if you don't want to give up that attacking edge in a counterattack formation, if you're getting a counterattack and you don't have that attacking edge, since your striker is isolated from a 4-5-1, and you want to switch from a 4-3-3 into a 4-2-3-1 formation in defense, since it is more defensively adept and it gives you attacking edge, what you can do is, with your wingers and your center mids, you keep one of your center mids, whoever's more attackingly gifted, you move him up right on the nose of their center defensive mid. Get your other center mid to drop back with your center defensive mid, and just keep your wingers in the same position. So the only difference is that your center mid that was here drops into a center defensive mid, and the more attackingly gifted center mid goes into center attacking position. This, again, it's not a very drastic change. However, it gives you more defensive stability, and on a counter-attacking job, it doesn't leave you attackingly stranded. You're not isolating your striker. Now, the formation we've discussed in the previous two formations videos, as in the 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, and the 4-5-1, are the four most commonly used formations, and they provide a lot of stability defensively and attackingly wise, and the change in formations can again confuse the opposing team as to who to guard, and kind of changes positions up to throw a wild ball up in the air, and it also gives you a lot of depth and a lot of positional change. For more tips and tricks, visit Perham's 3 T's. Tips, tricks,
Wanna know just where I'm at? Well, let me tell you about it. I put my city on the map, but let me tell you about it. They try to say I can't come back, hey, let me tell you about it. Man,